Further testing is required. What's up, guys? I am testing my new capture card. Same one I've been testing. The $40 KKF capture card from Amazon. My buddy, TurboXray, who is doing some amazing stuff with the TurboGrafx, continues to do that. And I highly recommend his channel. I'll put a link in the description. Go check out what he's doing because he's doing some really cool stuff with the color palettes and TurboGrafx hardware. It's really cool stuff. I've done a couple of videos on it already. Anyway, because he is so well attuned to color palettes and this types of hardware and composite video and stuff like that, he was telling me that he had some concerns about the picture on this capture that I've been doing, especially for the composite video for like the TurboGrafx and the NES stuff that I was showing. His concern was that there was sort of a green tint or a green tinge on the video. So I thought I would tinker around with stuff and try to figure out exactly what could be causing that. Now, I have to be completely upfront with you. I'm using that capture card right now, but I'm using a brand new one. I bought two of these. I got one for my daughter and one for me. My daughter's had hers for a while, and the testing that I had done on the previous videos were using her card. But I just got mine in today, and I've been doing some more testing. So there could be a slight difference, a very slight difference in quality. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, what you're looking at right now is capture coming in from that card through my RetroTink. That's just the standard color bars that the RetroTink puts out. So I thought that would be a good baseline for anything that I'm doing using the RetroTink. So I'm going to fire up my Sharp Twin Famicom, and we're going to take a look at the 240p test suite, which, if you're not familiar with that, it is a ROM, like a game ROM, but it's not a game. It's used to test various different things. There's like versions of this for Nintendo, Sega, TurboGrafx, all kinds of consoles of all generations. Really cool little suite. It looks a little bit different depending on which console you use it on, but it's a pretty good little tool to use for evaluating what's going on with your system. So, yeah, I figured let's take a look at this suite and do some testing with that. I don't know what all of these do, like why you need all these. I'm sure there's a technical person who could explain more of that, but some of these are pretty useful to me. That one right there, I'm not real sure what the reason for that is. It's interesting how much more detail I can see on my CRT. I've got this running through the capture card and on a LCD over here, but I've also got it on my CRT. Looks amazing over there. Anyway, gradient color bars. We're just going to go through some of these and just look at these. I just want to have video of these so that like anybody that wants to look at it, they could freeze frame it if they're curious about stuff. Maybe nobody is curious about this. Maybe they are. I don't know. One thing I'll notice that I want to point out is the sawtooth formation on the straight lines. That I've noticed more so than what I noticed on the Elgato, but I did still notice it on there. And this is composite video. Bear that in mind. Somebody might have a better explanation for that sort of thing, but I'm pretty sure it has to do with the line doubling that's taking place and the imperfections of the signal, that sort of thing. Now, also I would point out that the RetroTink puts out a 720 by 480 picture. This capture card does not actually offer 720 by 480 as an option for capture. it does offer a bunch of options. Like right now we're at 1080p. Then there's 1440 by 900, 1400 by 900, 1360 by 768, 1280 by 960, 1280 by 1024, 720p, 1024 by 768, 800 by 600, and 640 by 480. So that's the options that I have. My guess would be that another thing affecting some of the detail loss that we're having at the minute little detail, which you're going to notice probably more in composite video, is this is just an idea. This is just a theory, but I'm guessing that this low spec stuff, the 480p capturing that's happening, or yeah, because the RetroTink is converting 240p into 480p, basically 720 by 480, but not 640 by 480. Okay, the RetroTink is putting out 720 by 480, not 640 by 480. And I think this is actually interpreting it as 640 by 480. That's just a theory that I have. So I think there's going to be, you know, some loss of fidelity just because of that sort of thing. If that makes any sense. Okay. We're just looking at a few of these different test things that are offered here. Now this one's very interesting. You notice the linear, the horizontal lines, right? Now if I press the button, it changes here, and you can see the pattern. Actually, it looks the same on my CRT. I was thinking it might not. That's interesting. Okay, so the pattern is consistent on the CRT. So that's interesting. I was thinking that right there was showing that there was a different something happening with the way it interprets the vertical lines, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be the same. That's interesting. Okay. And here's a lot of these tests are for testing your CRT. Like these are CRT tests for like to test to make sure your picture looks correct. So not all these are going to be helpful at all in this perspective for this sort of thing. But it's interesting nonetheless to see all the different tests. The grays might be helpful because, like I said, he was talking about a green tinge. I'm not as keen in my ability to pick up that sort of thing, so I'm actually not seeing a green tinge necessarily. But, like I said, he's much more adept to that sort of thing. Here's some solid colors. Sometimes you look at solid colors, they can show you things you don't know, you would never know to even look for, especially on your monitor. You can see a lot of the noise. The more gray you get, you can see a lot more noise in the signal. Now that, I do see a little bit of green on the edges of those lines right there, those black lines. So hopefully that's not just my imagination. No, I think it is. I think that's just sort of a rainbowing effect, actually, because it's not just green. I'm seeing several different colors. It's composite video. What are you going to do? All right. Yeah, we don't need that one. This is a good one to test. If you want to make sure that you're capturing at 60 frames per second, this is a good test because that little flickering thing on the screen will tell you if you're capturing properly. And if you're not seeing that flickering thing right now, it's because you're not watching this video at 60 frames per second. So I try to encourage my friends when they're doing captures of video games to always make sure that they're recording at 60 frames per second and their capture device is set to 60 frames per second, both on the in and the out. Otherwise, you're not going to get the ability to see those extreme flickering things, which the old consoles love to do, the flickering. They love the flicker. What's great about this is you can actually flip back and forth between even frames and odd frames. So you do the even frames or the odd frames. Like I said, it's pretty useful. It'll tell you quite a bit. Okay, for that. Manual lag test. No comment on that. Here's a good one. This will tell you a lot about your scrolling. Again, this will tell you a good bit of information about your capture. And is your capture actually smooth? Are you missing frames? Is it skipping frames? It tells you quite a bit. You can slow it down real slow. You can speed it up. Right about there is a pretty good speed to test the 60 frames consistency. See any hitching or anything, that's where you're going to see it right there. You also see some of the noise in the background there. I don't know. Can't really tell. I might be seeing a little green tinge in the back there, but it's hard to tell. There's another good test for testing the scrolling. This is also very useful on a CRT because it'll show you what your geometry is for your TV, and if it's not consistent, it's very good testing. And this is also great for that high fidelity, the minute little detail stuff. You look at the vertical lines and then see how it handles the different very, very thin, tiny little lines. It's pretty useful. Yeah, that's pretty much all the testing that I'm going to offer here. Now, I want to mention that like I said, I'm using the new version of the card that just came in today, but I'm also enhancing this slightly by adding some gamma. I'm using a filter on the color correction for OBS. I added some gamma, 0.4 on the gamma. I'll show you what it looks like without it. That's what it looks like without it. It's really dark like it was before. But if I put it up the way I just had it, then I think it makes a pretty significant difference. So let's see how that looks with some gameplay. Let's do that. We'll just restart the old EverDrive. And we'll bring up Contra. That was a pretty good one to test, I think. This time we'll do the Japanese Contra, English translated, because why not? Poor New Zealand. They can't catch a break. gonna skip this. Might be a little bit of that green that he's talking about there. It's so hard for me to tell. So there's definitely green in those rocks down there, and I'm not seeing that on my CRT. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at it in the capture here, and on my monitor, my LCD monitor that's coming out of the capture. And then I'm also looking at it at the CRT, and the CRT, it is not green. There's no green in those rocks. They're actually brown. So that's interesting. I wonder what causes that. Let me know if you have any theories about this and about what can be done to fix this. If anything can be done to fix this. I mean, short of just like tinting the image. Because you don't want to tint the image because the rest of the colors seem to be fine. I don't know. And you don't want to mess up the green that's supposed to be green. Wonder if that's just a byproduct of how this is going to translate composite video because of the low amount of detail. I'll tell you what we can do. Here's another test we can do. So this capture card will do its own version of line doubling. So if I flip the switch on the RetroTink to just pass the video through and not do the line doubling and just send the raw, video, then this thing will actually do its own line doubling. I don't think it's as good at doing it because it sort of just turns the flickering into those weird horizontal lines. But we can test it and see how it handles this, see if it makes any difference. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to flick that switch. And there it is. It's actually not a bad job of handling the line doubling. I mean, yeah, you got those little horizontal lines, but they're really not bad on the character. So this is bypassing the RetroTink, pretty much just using the RetroTink to convert composite into HDMI, and then the capture card is actually doing all of the processing of the video as far as line doubling or whatever it's doing. I can see it's doing something. It's not the same as the RetroTink, but I actually don't think it's doing a bad job. But the color is not any better. So that's unfortunate. And in the background, you can definitely see that issue that I was talking about with the sawtooth. Although on my CRT, it looks pretty much, pretty similar. The green is not It's not like it's gonna drive me crazy or anything, but it is strange, right? The green. My guess is, let me tell you why I think this might be happening. I read that this capture card has a lot of hardware compression built into the signal. It's that's why it's able to do what it does and not use a tremendous amount of resources. So that kind of, again, chews up your quality of your signal, but not real bad if you're doing retro games like this. It's really not bad. That green is kind of weird though. I don't know what causes that. And I don't know that there's anything I can do about it. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back into that. I just want to tinker with some stuff here. Yeah, we'll skip all this. Okay, I'm just gonna pause it here. All right, now let me tinker with some of the color settings here. All right, so if I go in, I change it. Right now it's the color space is 601. We'll try 709. Still has that green to it. All right, we'll change that back to 601. Yeah, it's interesting. There's a slight difference there. I'm going to go ahead and restore the retro tink because you can see those lines where the capture card is trying to do something about that, but it's not doing it very well. There we go. Okay. So let's mess with that again. 709. I don't know. It might be better. We'll leave it on 709. Well, let's see what we have. REC2 2100 PQ. I don't know what that. Then there's a 2100 HLG. Neither one of those seems to do anything. So we'll leave it on 709. The color range I have on limited right now. If I change that to full, that's when it blows everything up like that, which we're not going to do that. That's what I was using last time. So we're going to put it back to limited here. Yeah. That's pretty much all I got. There's not much else I can do there. Yeah. Unless I decide I want to go in and mess with the color correction and switch up the hue shift. See, that's not going to help. Because we can try to get rid of that green, but it's just going to mess with all the other colors. So we don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can do about it. It's an interesting effect. Like I said, my guess is it's just a byproduct of composite video. So, yeah. It's very interesting. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a look at the Super Nintendo's 240p test suite using something better. I think we can try. We'll try well, I'm trying to think. Maybe we could go ahead and try RGB video, component video out of the Super Nintendo. Let me hook that up. So I got my Super Nintendo hooked up, but it's with S video instead of RGB. And I don't know where that cable is, so I'm not messing with it. S video's pretty damn good. And it should tell us a lot about what's going on here. Uh-oh, that one didn't work. I was trying to run Contra from that Project Nested thing that I had done a while back. That's not going to work. Well, that's okay. We'll do something else. I remembered Battletoads had some areas that looked very similar to what we were seeing in Contra, so I thought maybe this would be a good one to look at. See if we notice that green stuff happening. I'm looking back and forth at my CRT and looking at the screen over here, kind of comparing with my eyes. Not really seeing any difference. Well, maybe there. That one guy in the middle is a little bit not quite as orange as he is on the CRT. Very hard to tell. Well, I mean, I guess that kind of answers my that I don't know if I'm saying this right. It kind of like helps me feel a little bit better, because if I'm struggling to really see a difference here, then it's not that big a deal. Yeah, okay. Pause it. So I'm just looking at the guy on the screen. He's a little yellow. He's not as orange as he is on the CRT, but I don't know. I mean, it's not significant. Oh, there's some thunder going on outside. I'm about to get a gully washer. About to rain like crazy over here. Alright. Let me take a look at a game I've watched the opening for 1 billion times. And we were looking at Contra on the NES. Let's look at Contra here on the Super Nintendo. Okay, here we go. I mean, I think there is a very slight difference, but I don't know. It's so minute. Well, I do want to thank my buddy, like I said, TurboXray. Thank you for pointing this out and giving me something to think about. But I don't know what else I can do. That's pretty much all the testing I know I can do to address the issue. Um, Increasing the gamma seems to have improved the picture considerably as far as the capture is concerned. There's still going to be some noise in the picture. And there's not much I can do about that. But overall, I think this is a pretty decent little capture card for 40 bucks. And even if there is some slight color issues, and obviously if you're looking at Contra on the NES, that's a pretty significant color issue, but it's not going to really affect the gameplay. No, it's not an accurate recreation of the NES picture, even though it is coming out of real hardware. It is what it is. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for now. I will play around with things, and if you guys, like I said, if you have any suggestions or thoughts about any of this, just let me know. Sometimes I like to just mess around and tinker with this stuff and see what I can do. That's about all I got to say. So I guess I'll be planning to start using this thing for captures and for videos and stuff like that. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll have more videos coming soon. Appreciate you hanging out with me as I test this stuff. I really do like the capture card. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good, especially for retro stuff. Oh, and there is one more thing before I go. Before I go, there is one more thing I want to show you guys. And I think it's pretty significant. So, let me show you this. Hang on just a second. Okay, so this is going to illustrate every positive and negative. So I can hook my PlayStation 3 up to this thing without any, I don't have to do anything special. This capture card does not apparently have any problems with HDCP stuff. So I have no problems with the copy protection. So previously when I would want to capture from my PlayStation 3, I had to use an analog component cable and then convert that component cable into an HDMI cable. So it was kind of a pain in the ass and all that. I could still do that, but I don't have to, because this thing will capture straight from HDMI, which is pretty cool. And that's great, except there's only one downside, and that's, you can probably see from, looking at the backgrounds here. Yeah, this really does show you how much compression. I'm sure you can see all the color banding, all the different layers of where the colors, because on my TV, when I look at my PlayStation 3, it's just a smooth background. But captured through this card, it's a little funky. The colors are kind of weird. There's not anything I can do about that I've found. Maybe there's some secret to improving that you might know, but I don't know. I've tinkered around with the video settings to try to get that picture to look better, and none of the settings that I adjust affected at all. So it is what it is. But this is definitely awesome for like capturing gameplay footage from any of my PlayStation, my digital PlayStation games, or any of my PS3 games or anything like that. So pretty cool. And again, it does look a little dark from what I'm used to seeing. But, that's the compression. That's totally the compression. Like if I go in here and add that color correction with the gamma, like I had it, it'll definitely brighten it up. I don't know. What do you think? You think I should use that? Or is that too bright? Seems to work pretty good for the composite stuff, but I don't know about this. Let's see. Let's fire up something and just real quick take a look. What to do? What to do? Metal Gear Solid. That'll work. That's a game that has a lot of different faded colors and things like that, like gradients, color gradients. A lot of dithering patterns. Be interesting to see how it translates. That might be a little too bright. By the way, I did test Wild Arms, the opening to Wild Arms, to see if it would handle that resolution switching when it brings up the title screen, and it handles it perfectly. It's like instantaneous.
The nuclear weapons disposal facility on Shadow Moses Island in Alaska's Fox Archipelago was attacked and captured by next-generation special forces, being led by members of Foxhound. They're demanding that the government turn over the remains of Big Boss, and they say that if their demands are not met within 24 hours, they'll launch a nuclear weapon. You'll have two mission objectives. First, you're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the president of Armstech, Kenneth Baker. Both are being held as hostages. Secondly, you're to investigate whether or not the terrorists have the ability to make a nuclear strike and stop them if they do.
What's the insertion method?
We'll approach the disposal facility by sub.
And then?
We'll launch a one-man SDV. After the SDV gets as close as it can, dispose of it. From there on, you'll have to swim. High-Tech Special Forces Unit Foxhound. Your former unit, and one that I was a commander of.
So they're still around.
There are 6 members of Foxhound involved in this terrorist activity. Psycho Mattis, with his powerful psychic abilities. Sniper Wolf, the beautiful and deadly sharpshooter. Decoy Octopus, master of disguise. Vulcan Raven, giant and shaman. And Revolver Ocelot, specialist in interrogation and a formidable gunfighter. And finally, in charge of them, Foxhound's squad leader, Liquid Snake.
Liquid Snake?
The man with the same codename as you. The nuclear weapons disposal facility covers the whole island. I'll instruct you by codec after you reach your target.
Anyone going with me?
As usual, this is a one-man infiltration mission.
Weapons and equipment OSP?
Yes. This is a top-secret black op. Don't expect any official support.
Yeah, what do you think? I love this opening. It's so cool. Okay, well, I'm going to stop here. I think that's enough testing. Let me know your thoughts. Guys, I will talk to you later. Bye.